Hello, it's Fatzoid here, and we are playing against Sky Strikers. Pretty scary. So we lead off with Dinah, because you always want to lead off with it if you have it in your opening hand. And then we're going to go into Chaos Ruler. We go into Chaos Ruler because Chaos Ruler lets us do some funky stuff. And it lets us throw cards in the graveyard, which is usually a decent thing for us, since a lot of our cards recycle. So we play Crimson Resonator, and we special summon our other Resonator, Synchron. And then we're going to bring back Chaos Ruler, and we literally just do it so we can go into Baron. So we're going into a Baron DeFleur. We got 2 negates on the board. You know what? Let's bring out Zeta too. Very strong opening field. We got 2 negates and we got Zeta. Now I start realizing it's Sky Striker, so I'm a little worried. Honestly, if I'm gonna be real with you, I think I overshot the Baron DeFleurs at like negate. I used Zeta and then I used Baron DeFleur to negate Ray. I should have just let Ray resolve. It was a complete misplay on my part. He has 5 cards in hand. I should have known that he was going to have a way to deal with it. I use Archfiend Abyss. Negate the effect of his Afterburners. But then he has the Monster Reborn. And you could say, hey, never lucky. But you know what? He had 5 cards in hand. There's a big possibility he had something. Monster Reborn was pretty unlucky though. So he goes into Kagori. And then Kagori's going to bring back Afterburners and he's going to be able to kill my Baron, which really sucks. I was hoping this guy just sucked ass and he was going to destroy my Abyss. That would have been hilarious. Because if you don't know, I can just bring back Abyss of Baron and then resummon Baron my next turn with comboing off the 10. So we end up getting Zeta back. So this is really important. I know he has a card in the monster zone. So since he has cards in the monster zone, he cannot use his back row. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, he definitely has Widow Anchor. This entire time I'm thinking this guy has Widow Anchor. So that's what I'm playing around. But he can't activate or do anything with it because he has a monster in the main Zach zone. So now we finally deal with Hayata, and he's also going to activate his effect to send, what does he send to the graveyard? He sends a module. I don't know why he sent module, to be honest, because Kagori's in the graveyard, so he's not going to be able to search it now with Shizuku. It's kind of bad on his part. So we do Red Rising Dragon, and here we get Shark Cannon, which is really annoying. And he's not stupid. Like he's actually playing it well. Like he exiles instead of putting on his board. Because if he put it on his board, he would have no way of. He would have to link it off. But other than that, he would have no way of actually doing. Here, I'm very afraid of getting Widow Anchor right now. But at this point, I'm like thinking in my mind. I'm like, what is he waiting for? And then when he summoned the Raws, I was like, okay, he's going into Zeke. So I let that go through, because if I didn't let that go through, he can go Widow Anchor me, take my card, and do you get what I'm saying? That's the only reason I let Zeke go through. Alright, so Zeta comes back. I purposely did this because I'm like, he has Widow Anchor. Guess what? It doesn't really matter because you can't activate it with this card here. So I go Red Rising Dragon. I'm going to bring back this card. Actually goes through. Pretty happy about that. And I'm just setting up for next turn. So I go into Scarlet. And now I find out it was a Solomon warning this entire time. So he must have something else though. Like at this point, I'm like, he has to have something else because I keep getting notifications for it. So we play Red Rising Dragon, attack into that. We're going to leave Ray there. And now our Archfiend comes back. So I'm in a pretty good spot, regardless. He goes into Hayate. He swings. I do the same thing over. I haven't taken a single point of damage because of Zeta. It's a battle of attrition at this point. He goes in Shizuku. He's running out of Link monsters to go into. We stop engage and he concedes. He sees the writing on the wall. We just keep locking him out. Alright, this deck is we're playing against Marise's I don't know, Marine Sus? Whatever the fucking deck's called, I don't even know. But we play Resonator Call because if he had an Ash, I'd rather him Ash this than Ash my Asketer. So he ended up having Maxi. We can't play underneath Maxi, so we just pass. He goes in, he starts doing his Marine Cess. Marine Cess. Kind of sounds like incest. Kind of fucking weird. So he starts popping off. I'm like not really that worried because his boss monster, I have Radiant for it. So I have a Kaiju for it. So it's whatever. If you play spells and traps, I got Harpy's Feather Duster. A lot of the times the trap cards though for the Marine Cess, from what I understand, they can play from hand as long as they have a Marine Cess out. So the Kaiju, like I don't even think he's gonna play anything on the field like trap wise. So in my mind, I have no hand trap, so I'm not even really thinking about any of that. I'm thinking about what I'm doing in my next turn. And I'm like, well, if he goes to the 4, I can raid in it. He ends up sticking with the 3. He attacks me for 45. And now I just, boom, whole board's gone. Brings back a card, go Asakater, plays it. Now I'm going to start popping off. Go into Chaos Ruler. I have not normal summoned yet, so I'm pretty happy with this choice. I knew he had Effect Veiler out because once I summoned Asketer, it started flowing on his field. So, like, in no way he could play Imperm. He can't use Imperm, so it had to be Effect Veiler. So I already knew that, which was fine because I had Resonator in my hand anyway. And then we go into King of Calamity. And then I bring back Chaos Ruler. And I think my opponent concedes. I didn't have lethal here, so I'm not sure why he conceded, but oh well. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. But subscribe is the most important part because a lot of people aren't subscribing. I really appreciate it, and it really helps out the channel to get to 1,000 so we can do that $200 giveaway, and that would be fantastic. So let's talk about the deck as it has big dick energy. We have a ton of starters and extenders to fight through a hand trap or two, but if you get max seed without an Ash or Called by the Grave, just fucking give up at that point. No, but really, it's going to shut down your turn as you don't want to lose in card advantage. Ideally, you want to open the hand with a Called by the Grave and an Ash Blossom to just stop your opponent from stopping you. Just to give you an idea of how a combo would work in this deck, let's just say you have a Witch of the Black Forest and a Crimson Resonator. You will be able to special summon Crimson at the start of your main phase. Then you summon Witch. Use Crimson and Witch to go into Red Rising Dragon. Use Witch's effect to grab Asakater from the deck for the next turn. You use Red Rising Dragon's effect to bring back Crimson. Crimson then activates its effect to special summon Synchron and Creation Resonator. And then you can go into Red Supernova Dragon. And I know it's not the most OP card in the game or anything like that, but honestly, it's still really hard to deal with, short of a Kaiju or a Negate effect. And I think the board that you seen from game 1 was much stronger, obviously, because you had 2 negates and you had Zeta, which is insane. But I think it's just to give you an idea of what the deck is capable of. And it's also how a lot of your hands can break into nightmares for your opponent. I would say Red Rain's a really good card in the deck because discarding cards from the deck through Chaos Ruler can instantly get it back by just synchro summoning into another monster, which is pretty normal to do as we go into Hot Red Archfiendala. I would say maybe I might bump the Synchron Resonator to 3. It overperformed, and having another like level 1 extender so we can go into an 8 to a 9 is pretty big for the deck. Other than that, I wouldn't really mess around too much. Another combo this deck has that I wasn't able to showcase too much was you can discard Nobleman Knight from the hand to grab Hop Ear Squadron. So if you have a Chaos Ruler on the field, or let's say you have a Scarlet Red or pretty much anything on the field that's a level 8, and you have Hop Ear in your hand, on your opponent's main phase, you can activate this from the hand to special summon a Baron de Fleur. And this does come into play a lot because sometimes your Resonator, like some of the card abilities, prevents you from summoning anything that isn't a Dark Dragon type or something like that. So this will allow you to summon the Baron de Fleur on your opponent's turn to have that second negate up. If I had to make a cut in the extra deck, I would actually cut down Scarlet Red down to 1 perhaps, or even cut in Belize because I really didn't use it too much. I thought it would be a good card to just deal with decks that can go over him. If you play against a Blue Eyes deck that ends up running the Ritual Monster, you don't even have to really play against it doing this type of strategy. You can literally just go into one of your bigger synchros, and these things can easily go over 4K. I got Red Supernova at one point in one of my games to like 8,000. That's just like every time there's another tuner monster in the graveyard, it gets 500 additional attack. And the card's already 4K attack. So, I mean... So, yeah, if I had to replace one, I would replace Belize and maybe a Scarlet Red to put in some Link monsters in the deck. And you might be saying that kind of is counterintuitive with a lot of the strategies. But you also have to remember, sometimes if we do not have a tuner and we have Witch of the Black Forest and we want to use its effect, it gets kind of awkward when you could have just Link summoned her away. So that's the only reason why I'm saying that. Other than that, the deck's really strong. I steamrolled my way through gold, did really well through plat. I didn't really get too many games in diamond with the deck. If you guys have any questions about the deck, please let me know. And until next time, bye.